Well, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Roberts and Robertson, Season 2, Episode 3. Can you believe it? We made it this far, Wendy. How are
We
you doing?
back, baby.
Back, May. Just
I this is like take three.
take the. We had a couple of technical difficulties. More spelled out. If you were to spell that in plain English, it would be human error. And so here we are, folks. Thanks for hanging there, waiting for us to appear. And we appreciate every one of you that's here. And everybody's out of the habit of Roberts-n-Robertson because we were out of the habit of Roberts-n-Robertson.
Well,
I mean, I have to say, in light of today's topic, I'm never out of the Robertson habit. And but today we're going to talk about something that's fun, something's a little harrowing, something that spells out danger, something that spells out happiness, ecstasy, all of the things combined in our topic today. But we'll get to that in a minute. And Wendy, I know that it's been a rough. We were on for 6 months straight with season 1, not missing a beat. And then, of course, as soon as we wanted to enter into season 2, after a short break, hell broke loose everywhere. And it's been a 6 months of try again, off again, on again, off again, not feeling like it, feeling under everything, the weight of things. And it just didn't happen. And so now, hopefully, we are back, and things will we're back in the saddle, Wendy. And
yeah.
so
I mean, it's been a really difficult year,
it
and
has.
I think it's not just, it's affected Robertson-Robertson. It affected Wicked
Mhm.
Women as well because
Yes.
my health was bad, and losing Henry on top was just knocked me sideways. And as I said, I just want to thank everyone for being so kind and sending so much love and well wishes. And you have good and bad days, but I'm just incredibly grateful to be here tonight with my, sorry Val, my favorite counterpart. And and it's
I'll
been
take that.
it's been so long that it's so nice to be back and feeling a little bit more like myself, or at least getting there.
It is. And look at us. Once again, we didn't call,
We
we
didn't.
didn't send memos, but we're both dressed in black.
I know.
So
I never, because we had no, I mean, literally, you just got ready, quick. So,
I had to
yeah.
throw it together quick today. I was working with a client all the way up until just moments before showtime, and I went, "Oh my god, I've got to go get a suit and tie on," and because that's our tradition here. Hey, Adam N, good to see you, and everybody over in the chat room. Sandra is here, and Allison and Cordia is here, and also we have Jason somewhere along the way popped in. I think he's still here. And Kelly Bell Moran is here. So, everybody, welcome to the program. I'm glad you're here. Glad you made it back on, Wendy, says Jason. Uh, hello, I'm in the room.
No, but I think he sees you three nights a
Yes,
week.
yes. Rudy Dog is here. So good to see you.
Thank
Yeah, you know what? Here, Jason, just for you, we'll just go do the show this way, and I think that that'll make him feel a lot better.
thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be back, Jason.
And it's nice to have you back. And
It's
so, do you want to introduce today's topic and how we're going to approach this? I know that I love that when you put on your glasses. You know, there are days you look good in nothing but your glasses. And so I'm glad you've got them on.
um literally they're new glasses, because I can see the screen more. It's a topic that was brought to me, and actually a few people have mentioned this topic, and they've asked us, they wanted to hear our interaction of it.
Yes.
They wanted the old Robertson spin on it, right? So
Yes.
it is actually friends with benefits, and or the other word I suppose
Woohoo.
use these days is a situationship, which I have absolutely no
Relationship.
clue what that is. But friends with benefits, absolutely. I know a lot of people that are in that kind of situation or have
Yes.
been in that situation. Some people want it, some people don't. And, we're here to talk about it tonight and put our spin on it.
Jason, by the way, says, clearly I'm in the company of the best people, fellow smart arses.
Picture of it, Jason.
You are indeed. And so, Wendy, let's start by just defining for anybody out there who's an adult that doesn't quite get what friends with benefits really means. What is that? How would you define it?
Obviously it's a friendship with some kind of benefit, but actually it's a friendship.
Like, I don't know, doing my laundry.
If you want to put it like that. I would say it's more like sexual, a relationship.
That's the connotation, I think.
Friendship where there are sexual benefits to it. You're not involved in an intimate emotional relationship, but you are having a relationship with a sexual benefit to it.
Yes. Now, what does so as adults, and we all know the connotation of a relationship that is considered sexual or relationship friendship with benefits. Why has that been defined that way? Because, and what does it really mean? I think it really means we all know we can not be coy about it. It's all referring to sexuality. Friends with benefits, you don't usually use that because you say, I've got a best friend who is somebody of the opposite sex, who I have a great friendship with, and she comes over and we do projects together. We run a business together. She'll do my dishes and she'll wash my dishes and I'll baste her turkey. All those different things. Is that the kind of benefits? No, we all know it means sexuality.
Well, it's somewhere between a dating relationship and a friendship. So
yes,
normally it's two people that know each other quite well as friends who engage in intimate sexual activity without dating each other. So it's very different from hooking up, because hooking up is something that can be a one-time thing.
Right.
With someone that you don't know that well, like we just hooked up for the night, we just hooked up for the day. But when you're dating someone, generally, just to define the terms here, when you're dating someone, whether that's hopefully just the one, you have special feelings for them, and it's one-to-one. In friends with benefits, you're just friends you hang out and do things together, and sometimes have sex and be intimate with each other.
Right.
And you're free to date other people. You're free to see other people. There's no strings attached.
Hey, darling, thanks for the sex and the dinner last night. I got a date tonight, so I'll call you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. And I think some people go down that road because it's safe to explore with someone they know. It's like, I'm safe with this person. I don't have to commit to them. I don't have to give anything to them. And I'm getting the best of both worlds. I've got the friendship, but I'm getting all the sexual, stuff with it as well. And it's like, that's fine if both of you are on the same page. But if one of you is hoping the other one's going to change, or the other one is
going to cave to intimacy, to romance, to and you know what? If you're a friend already, and you're sharing the benefits of sexuality, and you're going about your business, doing your thing, it's not affecting your relationship, you're both happy doing that, the sex is good, and so on. What happens to the part of sexuality that is intimacy? Can people who are having benefits of that kind of friendship, what happens to the intimacy? Does one then start, what if one you just mentioned craves the intimacy more than the other person? Can the sex be good and not be intimate? Or is all good sex intimate? We've talked about some of these things before. Do you think that a friendship with the benefits of sexuality will last very long if there's not the intimacy that's involved in falling in love with somebody?
It's a thin line, because to be honest, I know of people in said situationship where you care about each other, right? You care about each other, you're friends, you do things together, you care about each other, but one of you may not want to go that far, right? So you know the score, you know, it is what it is, let's just not make it anymore. I think you can have sex without intimacy, and I think friends with benefits can definitely have sex without intimacy. The problem becomes when one of them wants to change it. And I think if two of them, it's possible that two friends who are having friends with benefits will then go on to have intimate feelings and have an intimacy between them. Of course they can. And if they were, one of them was to go on to meet someone or date someone, that would obviously change the scenario. But I have seen a lot of people in that situation develop feelings for the person that they're involved with, hoping that in time you know, first of all, it's nice and safe, you know, they don't have to worry about getting hurt, cheated on, let down, but it's supposed to feel good, you know, being intimate with someone is supposed to be really, really good. And it's like, great, but I think friends with benefits is an alternative for people who do not want the committed relationship or a committed dating relationship. It's like, I like you, let's hang out, let's spend some time together, but don't get any ideas about falling in love with me or having anything else. I don't want to know. And then other people can do that for a while, and they will then turn around and go, well, actually, I'm really kind of hoping that in time they'll see how, you know, they'll develop these strong romantic feelings for them, and they're hoping it will change. And
now, how many relationships do you suppose start with, it's not necessarily friends with benefits, but it's like, I like this person, and you end up in bed, you have sex, and then you go, hey, I kind of like that. Let's hang out tomorrow.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of things start that way. What do you think would be, before we get into some of the pitfalls of it, it's obviously can be a good thing. It can be what we perceive as being a good thing. But as the segue into what could make it a rough thing or a horrible thing is entering into that and say, you know, it's not usually discussed ahead of time. I don't think, hey, you know, we can have sex now, but let's lay some ground rules, some provisos, some, you know, and then we don't do that usually. It's usually, fuck, we're having sex. Let's go. And then in the morning or later, you're talking about, you know, that thing that we just did. What do we want to do with that? Do we want it to be something? Do we want it to expand? Or both people could agree we want to expand it, or one might agree we want to expand it, the other doesn't. And that could end it right there. You might say, we could keep doing this. This is kind of fun. People forget that when we're talking psychologically about sex, that sex isn't just about procreation and just about mating, and it's about having fun too. It's a fun thing that human beings do. It's an enjoyment, a pleasurable fact. You can be less watered down and say, you know, use more esoteric words for it, but it's enjoyable. And so what happens then when a couple of different things start going on? As you've already mentioned, one person wants more or less. They both want to keep doing the same thing, but one person would love to see that become more intimate.
Yes.
What do you do when that intimacy isn't forthcoming? Does it end it all? Does it? Because I said at the beginning of this, when you and I were talking, I've never really been in a friends with benefits situation. I've started out situations that felt like this could be kind of a fun friends with benefits, because I don't really, when I first met Rainey, I didn't want a relationship.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, you and I have talked about the reasons for that. That's a totally different topic. You've been there too, where you say, you know, I like this, and I don't really know if I want to go into a relationship. But
Yeah.
We can hang out together. I called it hanging out. We can hang out together.
Yeah.
And all that implies. But and I ended up where she was wanting to be more intimate, and I kind of opened that door, and I was like, "Uh-oh, what do I do?" And she wanted to be more intimate, and I kept pushing her away. I kept holding her at arm's length. I don't want to do that. I'm not going there. We can have a relationship, but not a relationship with a capital R.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what Friends with Benefits. So Rainey and I, in a sense, started with, I don't think she necessarily wanted Friends with Benefits. I think she wanted to go a little extra mile than that. Me, I was kind of like, hey, I love this. So long as I don't have to be in a relationship. But I also found, as I got deeper into that, it seemed too superficial after a while. It's like, I remember the first time I told Rainey I loved her. I said, I don't want you to go away. I don't want to lose you. I love you. And I pushed you away for 6 months. I tried to keep you out there. And as a situation with benefits. But you know what? It doesn't work if you, I think, okay, I'm going to render an opinion. You can counter me or you can confirm and then give your opinion. I think the whole friends with benefit things doesn't work overall. It works in certain situations, maybe works in long distance things. It maybe works for a short time, but overall, it doesn't work because you spark human intimacy. And I think this is more on a man's part. It's a generalization, but more on a man's part. Man can walk away from that quicker than a woman can. I was friends with benefits. We're not doing anything. And the woman's like, fine, if that's what you want, you know? But guys can walk away from that unless, and I think, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, and everybody in the audience, you can correct me if I'm too. I'm going to make a blanket statement. Guys that can do that and win somebody's heart in the process without really trying to win the heart, a decent man could not walk away. A decent man, a man with a heart, a man with passion, can't walk away from that. What are your thoughts?
There's a lot of men out there, and some of them aren't as decent as you quite rightly put it. A lot of them just want what they can get, and without any commitment. And if they get all the benefits of a relationship without actually giving the commitment, they will absolutely do it.
Yes.
In fact, why would they? Why would they want to commit when they're getting all the benefits? I mean, maybe they're getting more from that friendship, not just the sex. Maybe they're getting more.
To be crass, what was the old saying? Why buy the cow if the milk's for free?
Exactly.
And I don't mean that to be blatantly crass. It's a crass saying, and that's kind of the thought with a lot of people, a lot of men, especially. Why should I buy the cow?
There's so many guys like that. It's like, well, they know the score, and they're not getting involved in anything like that, and don't go over that boundary. We've had that discussion, and in the meantime, for women too, it's not just men. And your mic's gone off, Scotty, just so you know. It's not just men, it's women too. There are women out there who don't want a relationship. They just want to have, as I think she says, putting her glasses on, I think it was Rudy or something that said they want the release, the stress, the release from that.
Yes.
And I understand that, because relationships are hard work. Emotional relationships are really, really hard work.
Yes, they are.
And they can break your heart, and they can cause nothing but drama, and they can bring lots and lots of things out of you that you've tried to bury long time ago. So you get the best of both worlds. You get to have a friendship where you enjoy each other, but at the same time, you're having, the frisky business to go with it. But you're right. when two people have sex, you exchange energy, you exchange an intimacy. Now, if one of you starts to go down that road and the other one is going, well, hang on a minute, it was never meant to go down that road. Don't go down that road. We've had this conversation before. Your friendship is then strained, because what happens if you're in love with this person, but you can't give them up because you're kind of addicted to them? You don't want anyone else to be with them. You don't want to be with anyone else because you're thinking about them.
Right.
It can be destructive. I agree with you. Anyone who wants a full-blown relationship is not going to look for that. But there are some times in life, if you've been hurt, if, like you say with Rainey in the beginning, I'm sure you didn't
Right.
want to go down that road.
I didn't. I had been in a relationship for 4 years with someone, and it ended a few months before Rainey and we knew each other and knew of each other, but before we hit it off, so to speak, was from May 2005 to August of 2005 is the period of time after I had dated a woman for 4 years. And then Rainey came into my life, and from August to January, the following January, we got very involved, very intimate. Here's the funny thing. I owned a house and she owned her own house on the other side of town. But she was at my house 5 nights out of the week is what it became during that period. It built up to that. And I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? And I basically did everything in my power to let her know I didn't want to have a relationship, down to being a cad sometimes. And
I'll say you rascal.
I probably hurt her very deeply.
Scoundrel.
But it was also a thing of my justification at the time was, well, we never said we're going to, stupid. And I remember that time, it's my personal thing. We'll get back to where you were. Sorry.
Actually, I've got to admit, I actually have had a situationship, and it just, as you were talking, it came back to me, and he's probably going to kill me for even talking about it.
Sorry.
When I divorced my first husband, we had moments where we would just meet, and we were still good friends. We were still good friends, and there would be a benefit, and it went on for years, on and off for years, but we wouldn't date, and we wouldn't get back together. But there was a feeling of, he knows me, I feel safe, I trust him.
There it is.
We loved each other. He finds me immensely attractive. I know what I'm going to get. And it was convenient for both of us, until one day I turned around and said, it's not for me anymore. But the thing is, and that was kind of like, oh, right, okay. But what I'm saying is, sometimes you don't want to get involved emotionally, but you do want the benefits. What are your expectations? If you're going to get involved in a friends with benefit relationship, what are your expectations going in? And when do your expectations change? Because if you know when you got involved in it, then it wasn't going to be the one that you wanted. And all of a sudden you're starting feeling intimate and emotional feelings, which will happen.
Yeah.
Your expectations are now different. And that's why the other person is going to turn around and say, well, hang on a minute. You and I agreed that this was not going to happen. And you got to stay the course. Hi, Andrew.
Andrew says a friend with benefits can fulfill a particular need as long as each participant understands the boundaries. But once people get involved, that boundary is in constant flux. It's always moving. And you are spot on, Andrew. As I was going to say with Rainey, it really came to a head at one point, and it was ending. That 5 months all the way up to the beginning of January.
It's actually deliberate, Barbara. Barbara says our names are in the wrong place. They're deliberately in the wrong place.
I think they're in the right place. We noticed that, and we left it be.
Tonight I am Wendy Roberts.
and I am Scott Robertson. So with Rainey, there was a point where she came over to my house
Yeah.
to pick everything up that was hers. She had a little box and, undies in a drawer by the utensils in the kitchen kind of thing, and pick all that stuff up. And it was kind of a melancholy moment. And during that time, and by the way, she also, you're a woman, she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
She had that beautiful, still does. She's getting gray streaks in it, but she had that big, beautiful mane of dark brunette hair, and
Yeah.
you know how she's built and all of that. And she had on a white shirt, like a white men's shirt, and open and the sleeves kind of rolled up, and she's gathering her stuff and looking magnificent. And I'm conflicted. And of course, at the same couple minutes after she arrives, some woman, a friend with benefits, former friend with benefits, came over. And she was sitting at my desk. And while Rainey's walking a little back and forth, walking things, and she is peeing on the fire hydrant, so to speak. And she's being very, very sexual and throwing it out there. And she's leaning back in my desk chair and her feet up on my desk, and she's just throwing it. As soon as Rainey walked in the room, she's laying it on thick to me. It's like, and all I'm thinking in my head at that time, I'm watching Rainey, and I'm going silently in my head at first. I'm like, don't leave yet. And I'm saying silently, it was to this other woman. I'm like, will you shut up and go? You shut up and go. I like you. You're my friend. I love you. Blah, 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 but you gotta go. Finally, I said, well, I've got to do some stuff with Rainey. So, and so she left, and that was the end of that. But I looked at Rainey, and there was some point where I got down on my knees and I said, look, I'm sorry the way I've been the last several months. And I said, I don't want you to go. And she's still here. So, there you go. So that's how that story worked out. But that started off in that way. One person wanted the benefits and the friendship without getting into it, while the other person had a growing intimacy. And so that's that point.
It's a safe way to start as well, because you have all the commitment and you haven't got all the pressure, but you have all the fun. So you get to know that person. If it's, I mean, it's also the other thing as well. Sometimes with your friendships, you don't expect it to happen. You don't think it's going to happen. Or and the question is, was there always an underlining current underneath? Was there always an attraction there that neither of you ever spoke about? Did you always fancy the other person but just never talked about it? Was there flirtation? And who changed it? Whoever changed the dynamics of that relationship obviously was the ringleader. But what happens, and this is a question here, imagine if you were friends with benefits, but you were friends first, and a pregnancy happened, or a sexual transmitted,
that would be a rough one.
Or they end up meeting someone else and going, yeah, thanks very much for all that, it's been great, but bye, right? And I think it depends on the person. If you don't want the commitment, if you just want to have fun, if you just want to test the water, then it's absolutely fine. If you start falling in love with the person and it's only one-sided, that is a problem.
So really, when it comes down to it, wouldn't all the beginnings of all relationships are friends with benefits? Because you don't go, wow, Wendy, this was a great time tonight. You want to come back to my place? And, we'll watch a little Star Trek.
You never ask.
We'll watch some Doctor Who. And, I'm in. It starts that way. and then one thing leads to another. There's sex,
Yeah.
and you plan when I asked you to come over and watch Doctor Who with me, was that because I wanted a relationship, and I'm thinking I want a relationship with you, and I have kids, I want to grow old with you, or am I thinking, wow, she's a knockout, that was a great date, come on over, let's get a little hinky, and because that's not, is that usually that first time out the chute, are you like, I'm looking for a mate for life? That's not usually, well, maybe that's a guy perspective. And maybe the guy isn't the one that does it. Maybe a woman's different. You tell me. Is a woman different in those situations? First time out, and you're going, he's a potential, maybe if I have sex with him, that'll seal the deal and we'll be together for 55 years. I don't know. What?
And I like that Val's put friends with benefit is a wonderful thing.
Yes,
and
yes.
The thing is, we all have friends who either we have maybe we fancy, right? Maybe we fancy, or we know they would sleep with us if given the opportunity.
Right.
So that makes you question a friendship, because it's like, so we're friends, but you'd still shag me, right? Being completely
we're friends and still shag the shit out of you, and kind of thing. Yep.
Which is fine, but it's like sometimes I've never actually. I'm just trying to remember. Oh, it's so long ago. It's just like I don't think I've actually shagged a friend. But I have friends who would like to shag me, right? And I'm being completely honest. I have friends who would want to shag me, and that's really lovely. And it's a lovely.
I used to have friends that wanted to shag me,
but it's
I think they realized Rainey would probably tear their eyeballs out. But
it confuses things, and it also, a situationship is a romantic or sexual relationship that is undefined and non-committal, and they're more than friends but less than committed romantic partners. And the thing is, I know people that are in these situationships. They're doing everything a partner would do. They're taking care of them. They're looking after them. There's all the sexual side of it. They've got all the benefits of that relationship without the actual title of being a partner. And you know what? It's really hurtful. They're very, it hurts them, whether it's the man, whether it's the woman. There's a part of them that wants that to have that recognition, and they can't break away that easily, because they feel, I care about this person deeply, and yet the easiest thing to do in life is to have sex with someone who's really casual and doesn't want any commitment, and it's all the fun without any problems. There's a real difficult situation there, and yes, Val's right. Yes, it can be a wonderful thing, but you've both got to be on the same page, and it can't change. It can't unless you both want it.
That's it. And okay, let's shift the gear on this a little bit. What do you do? Because I only bring this up because
bring it up,
baby. What was that?
I said, bring it up, baby.
I thought you said baby in there somewhere, and I went, hello. She's talking to me, folks. That was for me. And so you think of these situations that start to lead to danger. What is dangerous? Not so dangerous. It's just hurtful when you're two single people that are involved this way, and you have to figure it out one way or the other. When you run into that brick wall of, I need to deepen this.
Yeah.
Deeper, did you say? Or do I need to? What?
Sorry.
So what do you do? Or when you've got a single people, it's not easier to figure out, but it's not as entangled to figure it out.
Yeah.
What do you do? Because there are people that are in this situation, or you have people who are already involved with somebody or married to somebody else or something, and you have friends. You have a friend. And is that, what did that say? $10? I never shag anyone.
The devil's a
Oops,
liar.
devil's a liar. So what do you do? Because there are people who are married people who are involved with other people that have that
Yeah.
person over there. That's a friend and a deep friend. And I don't want to give up that friend. And maybe it's somebody that is, this sounds so bad, grandfathered in. It's somebody you were shagging with benefits before. Then you got married. Then you shag with benefits after that. Yeah, are you friends with benefits after that, or is that has to go away? But what do you do? You've also, and I'm not trying to set up an obvious answer. I'm trying to say there are sometimes some not so obvious answers to these, because it involves people that you really love. But marriage is supposed to be that thing that is the end all and be all in relationship category. That no longer takes place. But you know what? I know people that are married and love each other. They've been together for 35 years. Guess what? They still both have friends with benefits.
Yeah.
And their relationship is amazing. And their friendships are good and solid. Now, do we look at that and we say, well, we put that in a totally different category. That's not friends with the relationship. That's swingers, or that's.
I was just going to say that is a subject that we need to look at, is swinging, because
yeah, we do.
That's a subject in itself. But I do know quite a few people in my lifetime that have gone down that road of the swinging. And fair play to them, if that's what they want to do. But yet again, you have to be both on the same thank you, Ken.
You really have to be on the same level with that.
You have to be on the same team. But sex is a wonderful thing, isn't it? I mean, sex is such an amazing exchange of energy and release. Sure. And it's intimate and it's fun, and it's you can while away the hours with it as well. But it's when you start to develop romantic feelings for somebody that you're having sex with, because you know what, sex is pretty intimate. I mean, if you look at the act and everything that goes on with it, it's a very intimate act. And Val's right. I think she put a comment up here earlier on. She says that if one of you gets feelings, you have to get out, because otherwise it's not fair. But what happens if the other person won't let you go that easy, right?
Right.
Because, and they want their benefits. Oh, yes. No, come back. I need you. Perhaps you can do this. Perhaps we can do that. What happens if you stop having the benefits? What happens then to the friendship? Does the other person still want it if the other one pulls away and says, no, I don't want it anymore? Is the other person... I was propositioned by somebody who's married, and they suggested that I was... that they basically I could spend some time with them. And I was like, but you're married. And they were like, well, yes, but it's an open relationship. And I felt that's the biggest load of crock I've ever heard in my life. But hey, but it's open. And I said, so she does this as well. And he was like, well, yeah. And it's an unsaid, understandable thing between us. And I thought, where do you get off asking me? Where's your respect for me? Right at that point, because it's like, well, hang on a minute, you're single, Wendy, you're a nice looking girl, come along, let's get jiggy with it. And I think that a lot of women, including those with male friends, and I'm using this as a woman, you can go for the man side of things.
Sure.
Sometimes we do get fed up of our friends or said friends hitting on us, being suggestive, being like, this, that, and the other, because it's like, hang on a minute, we're buddies, we're friends. I don't want to shag you. I don't want to see any dick pics from you. I don't want that. We're just friends. And if you can't handle that and you can't give me that, then we can't be friends anymore.
By the way, I have one word of advice for guys. Never send unsolicited dick pics and think that you're going to impress a woman. Just don't do it.
Please
Okay, move
don't.
on.
We really don't want to see them because we show them to our friends. Just saying, we show them to our friends. It's
Yeah.
like, what do you think of this? It's really true. But it's like, Scotty, do you find that some of your friends have been, perhaps you don't see them that way, but they've been suggestive to you, or they want it and it's made you feel uncomfortable?
I can't say I've had anybody make me feel uncomfortable. I don't get too uncomfortable with things.
Mm-hmm.
I always say in all other arenas, religion, politics, bring it into sexuality. I'm a big boy. I wear my big boy pants, and there's not too much that offends me.
Mm.
I've never really had a woman come to me that way where it's been offensive. I will say it's always been flattering. It's been flattering, and I'll say that's really flattering. And um, don't. And I try to say things like, and I try to keep. I always try to keep. You know me. I try to keep things a little lighthearted, and I joke around when I can. But if I were faced with something like that, it'd probably be lighthearted, and I'd say, I I so appreciate that offer, and you don't know how tempting it is, and you don't know how fun that would probably be. I'm right there with you on that page, but I can't do it. I've been in those positions before.
Mm-hmm.
And for one reason or the other, I've done that when I was a single guy. I've done that, and I've said, yeah, it's very tempting, but I can't. I had okay. I had there was a woman still married to a good friend of mine. We were at a big event, historical event. It was camping and all that. We set up a camp, and my buddy went to bed, and his wife and we were hanging with all the people that were partying. We're all in costume, 17th century stuff. We're all walking around, and we're walking across this big open field. It was dark. There was a partial moon out, so it wasn't real bright. And you see fires all over, and people are laughing. And I'm wearing a kilt at the time. And she turned to me and grabbed me by my lapels and started running her hand up my kilt. And she said, let's just drop and do this right here in the field. And I said, you know what? I said, I am so flattered. I said, do you know? And this woman was a, how would we say it? A desirable person.
Attractive.
All
Yes.
redhead.
Mm.
And very tall. And I said, I am very flattered, but you know what? I said, I can't do this. I said, your husband is right over there in that tent, 100 yards away. And I said, I can't. And you know what I'm doing? I'm convincing myself why I can't do it. And so while I've had those offers, sometimes it's your decency that stops you from doing it. I think for me to have partaken in that, I would have had to know that it was all right with my buddy and all right with her and all right with everybody around. Everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't be just I can't drop into the woods
Absolutely.
and shag you up against a tree. We just can't do that.
No.
And she was kind of like, well, why not? I said, let's go. And I'm kind of like, I got to go this way. I used to, what comes to mind of all things when I was a youth pastor, and I was talking to the kids about, you remember Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, as the musical would have, Joseph in the Coat of Many Colors. There's a scene where he's sold into slavery in Egypt, and he's working as a household servant. And the wife of the man, the high priest, the wife of the man, young woman, comes and says to Joseph, she says, fuck me. It's basically what she says in biblical language. Lie with me, and
Have thy wicked way.
have thy wicked way. Lie with me. And Joseph says, I can't do this. He says, you're my master's wife. I'm sure he's thinking, and I don't want to lose my head or be burned alive or whatever. And I said to the youth group kids, I said there was a scene where it said every day she would come and do this to him. And one day she grabs his cloak or whatever he was wearing, and she says, come to bed with me now. And he had to run. It says he ran, leaving his coat in her hand. And he ran away. I said, now let me ask you kids a question. I said, do you think Joseph ran away? And pardon this, everybody, I'm not making it a physical appearance thing, but this is for the kids. I said, do you think Joseph was running away because she was a stinky, fat, greasy slob trying to tempt him into bed? And he's like, no, thank you. I must run away. I said, do you know why he ran away? I said, I will bet you dimes to donuts. He ran away because he knew if he stayed where he was, he'd end up in bed with that woman. And I said, he wasn't afraid of not doing it. He was afraid of sticking around and doing it. And he ran away and he left his coat in her hand. And she, of course, cried rape. And there's a whole story behind that to get back at him. And so I think it's not that we're made offers and we're puritanical and we're angelic and we say, no, I cannot do that because I know it's wrong. That's not what we do. Our mind is already 10 miles ahead of us trying to justify it. And we're going, no. That's what I told this wife of my buddy. I'm like, no. Let's go. Let's go. We're going this way. And I just started walking. I once at a festival had a woman I didn't even know. I talked to her that day. I'm sleeping with a couple of buddies. We're in a tent. We're doing a show. And suddenly somebody's jumping into my sleeping bag onto my cot. And it's this woman and she's naked. She jumps in. And I sat up and I go, what are you doing? I was married at the time. So what are you doing? Not to Rennie. So what are you doing? She said, hopping into bed naked with you. And I go, I got to go. And I stood up and I'm in my undies and I walk across site to the lavatories. And I just stood and looking at myself in the mirror going, what the fuck? And so while those things happen, I'm going to ask you the same question, Wendy. And everybody who's listening, ask yourselves the same question. What do you do when you're in a relationship or you're married? Now, by the way, that's one side of the coin. Then there's the other side of the coin that says, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm going to find any way I can. Then all of a sudden you're either in an affair. Are you in an affair because you had sex, or are you in an affair because having that sex suddenly puts you in a position where you go, the intimacy bell's ringing. I either can't do this or I'm going to do it, or I'm going to, what do you do in those situations? So let me turn that over to you. Have you had situations, you said you did, where you've had the offer?
Mm-hmm. Well, most ladies out there probably would understand where I'm coming from. In my lifetime, I've had a lot of offers from a lot of married men and a lot of guys. And
by the way, I don't know what a sigma is. So go ahead, Wendy, keep going.
Whilst some of it is complimentary, some of it actually is not complimentary, because especially when you know the partner of them and you're like, you really think I could do this behind their back and face them, be face on with them? Thank you, Anita.
Thanks, Daisy.
I think it's a difficult one to say, because temptation is everywhere, right? And it just takes one come hither and you're resolved to go down. And I have been there and I have given into temptation and I have fought temptation.
Same.
And I also think as a woman, we don't always want to get involved. Now, we don't always want to have relationships. We don't always want to be committed. We want to have the freedom to come and go as we please, like men have done
Yes.
for so long. And, you know, I can see down here that I think it's called, is that Cordia? That, you know, if you're single and you've got an offer of something and there's relatively harm going to come out of it, why not do it? You know, I mean, we're only young once, you know, go for it. But I do think if someone was to come on to me in your situation and got in my bed like that, I would absolutely say to them, what the hell do you think you're doing? Because first of all, where's your respect for me? And let alone, you know, your
A guy
partner.
isn't going to say it's not about respect.
No, it's
I
not.
guarantee you that's not where a guy's head is.
But I was offended that this said person who would say this to me is still a friend, actually, right now. But I've had to put them straight and say there is nothing that is going to make me go down that road. Doesn't matter. And now it's made me feel awkward because when I actually see them and said partner, I'm kind of like, oh God, right? You know, and I have to act all happy and light. And then inside, I actually want to say, is that the truth? Have you been disrespectful to your partner? But I do think also that there's also a part of me that says, if you're a single gal and you don't want to be with a guy and you just want to have all the fun of a relationship without all the problems and commitment and drama and everything else, if it works, do it. However, from those that I know that have done it, that some of them have fallen in love and it's really painful. It rips their heart out because they want to be physically close to this person. They want to be with them, but they know they're not, you know, this person can carry on dating other people and talking to other people and sharing photographs and all kinds of things with them, you know, and then and it's not going to happen. And I just feel it's a very emotive subject. So people think friends with benefits is easy. Yes, it is. If you're on the same page and you don't want to go anywhere different with it. But, you know, what happens if you do fall in love? And emotions are tricky things. Like I'm sure you and I, Scotty, we've been involved with people in our past that we didn't want to fall in love with. We didn't mind having fun and a bit of laughter and all that kind of malarkey, but you didn't want to fall in love with. And it was okay. But what then if that person then fell in love with you and then suddenly said, but I want to be with you and I love you and I want to make the go of this? You'd be like, hang on a minute. I don't want this. You want that friendship, but you don't want that person to be around your neck. You know, that it's such a thin line.
It is.
Andrew
asks a question.
Okay.
He says, if your partner has no wish to be intimate with you, are you justified to look for intimacy elsewhere?
That is a very good question. And my answer would be two things. If you've talked about it and they're 100% don't want to get involved anymore and they don't want anything to do with it, you got two options. You either walk away and leave and start life afresh if you can, or you have to say to them, I want more. And if you can't give it to me, then we need to look about how that looks like.
And so in a sense, what you're saying is what we all seem to know exists. There are rules to the way things work. There's now, granted, you get in a moment of passion, rules seem to evaporate. They dissipate, and all of a sudden you go, I just broke the rules. And then you have to deal with that fallout, not only internally, but externally. With another person. Now you've not just got yourself to deal with, you've got the other person to deal with, you've got the other person to deal with. And whatever gets wrapped up in all of that. And so there are rules to playing the game, so to speak. Sigma males, says Professor Bauer, are respected for their confidence and skills. They are indifferent to social status. There you go. Yeah, what he said.
Yeah.
That's what it said. I said, "What's a sigma male?" I've never heard it used in that way before, although I am not at all unfamiliar with what you're talking about, Professor Bauer, just not by the term.
Spirit says I was in a double marriage. I was the second wife. I learned a lot about myself. I think what she's hi David. I think what she's saying is that, listen, if you've been on your own a long time and you want to get involved in a situationship, be careful. Take care of yourself, health wise and emotional. But if you're not harming anyone, go to it. However, if you start getting emotional feelings for someone, that's when it becomes a problem. And especially, as I said to you, what happens if you and I were involved in it and the other person starts going, but I love you and I want to be with you,
Right.
and I want to have a relationship with you, and you're like, hang on a minute, that wasn't the agreement. I don't want that. Then what do you do with the friendship? Where does the friendship stay in that? You've just lost, or potentially could lose, a really good friend over that.
That's the thing. And I had there was one time I was ever really faced with that in life. That whole question of, if I get sexual with my good friend, that's going to ruin our friendship. And I didn't understand why it would. This was about, God, this is before I met Rainey, just a few years. And, but there was this person, and we did everything together. Everybody thought we were married or getting married.
Yeah.
She was a great friend of mine, and we had a great time, and we acted like a married couple at times, but we didn't live together. We saw each other most every day, doing shit or one thing or another. Never had sex. It wasn't on the table. It didn't even come up. We didn't even broach that. But we were both sexual people. And I got to tell you something. Eventually, a couple of years down, we did do that. And our friendship ended. Not immediately, but it was a thing where she decided, I don't really want to get this serious. And I was kind of like, that was really good all the times we did it. But I don't want to get where that's going to lead us. And neither did she. And then it almost turned into hostility from her. Mm-hmm. And it was like, what are you being a hostile for? I'm a dumb guy. And it just parted. The ways parted. And we haven't really spoken since. And in passing, a couple of comments. And that's it. And that was, say again?
It gets awkward.
It gets very awkward very quickly. And so what destroyed our friendship?
Yeah.
Was it, well, of course, down the road too, I also got involved with Rainey. Mm-hmm. And she was still there, and a couple of, friendship, not even friendship encounters. We never even went to have coffee again. But a couple of conversations, and that was about it. And but there was, I think part of it too was, well, now you're involved with somebody else, and it was almost like we had a divorce. It was like we were a married couple that went through a divorce. We were great friends, loved each other. My mom loved her. She's just a good friend. And then that ended after having sex a couple of times, and it was like it just went away. She didn't want that.
What about
that time?
What about if you have a friend, and I'm using this as the friends with benefits because we're talking about friendship here. Mm-hmm. What about if you have a friend who basically is in a relationship and they ask you to come on and be a threesome? I trust you. You're my friend. It's safe. You know, I'd rather do it with you than anybody else. You know, I'd rather be with you than anybody else. I know quite a few people who have been in that situation. They've been asked to join as a third person in that relationship because hey, friends are benefits. You know, you're a friend. Let's bring this in. It's a benefit.
Right.
It's not always just one-on-one, but it's like I have actually had that said to me, like, would you be the threesome? And I was like, not on your life, not at all. You know, you're my friend. I don't want to see any of your bits.
Right.
And intimately. But what about that situation? Like if you're in a couple or relationships, and all of a sudden they ask you to join them as a benefit.
Are you asking me what I do, or are you asking the audience? Audience participation. What would you do? I know it just slightly different. I remember you and Rainey and I sitting here talking once, and I said we were being tongue in cheek, and I said, do you mind if Wendy becomes my second wife? And Rainey immediately answered, I don't care. She says, so long as she does the dishes and helps clean and take care of the kids, I'm good. And so I looked at Wendy and I said, well, there it is. You know,
there's not a million years that she would allow me to be the second wife.
Yeah. She says, as long as I'm always the first wife. So, and then of course you're asking somebody to be relegated in that kind of situation to second place.
Yeah.
So, but has it ever come up?
A friend of mine was actually asked by her friend, and I'm trying not to give too much details away, but they were asked to come along and join in this threesome, which eventually happened. But it was awful. It was awful because, you know, it didn't feel as it should do. And even though that friendship is still going, it's an awkwardness. You know, your friend and her boyfriend have now seen you naked, and there's now this intimacy, and it all sends lots of other questions. Did they prefer it with them? You know, are they going to talk behind my back? Are they going to get together behind my back? It's like there's such a thing, you know, this line. But as I said, that is a friend with benefits. We're friends. I was going to use the rude word, but I won't. We shag. And we have all the benefits of it without any of the commitment. And you know, as a woman in my sort of mature years, sometimes you just do want that. But if it's not your bag, don't do it. But I do think, is it more predominantly a masculine thing, or is it predominantly more a feminine thing?
I think it's more of a masculine trait that. Because men have that ability to compartmentalize. You could look at it in many different ways. Why do men have affairs easier than a woman, so to speak? Not that women don't have affairs, and it hasn't been easy, but women get more passionately involved. Men get sexually involved, and men generally don't have affairs because they want to have another family. Men have affairs because they want sexual relationships that
so do women too, right?
So do women.
Like
so do women.
I was in a sexless marriage for 6 years. I mean, it happened once a year on our anniversary, and you know, for 6 years of my life, I had sex once a year on my anniversary, and I stayed. I mean, was I a masochist?
You wanton, you.
I know. I was like, oh my God, it's going to happen. It's that time of year.
It's my birthday.
I gave the best years of my life, as in fertility wise, and I wasn't having the best sex of my life. And sometimes I look back and go, why didn't I just get out of that situation and just go and have great sex with other people, whether they were friends or not? I guess it wasn't my bag. But Andrew comes up with a good question. If you're in a relationship and the sex is crap, or you're not having sex, or the other person doesn't want you, what do you do, Scotty?
Or doesn't desire you, doesn't want to end the marriage, but doesn't want you.
Yeah.
Living with you. Kiss you goodbye in the morning. Kiss you, doesn't sleep in the same bed with you. I know people like that.
Yeah.
husband and wife, they're married. They both, you look at them externally, they're
Yeah.
fairly good looking people. They're not old and, worn out people, but it's not there anymore. But
No.
the marriage is still there.
Yeah.
They don't sleep in the same room. They don't sleep in. Some people choose to do that. We should make that a topic one of these times, because I've had people ask me, my wife
And
doesn't want to
David's
sleep in
come
the
up
room
with
with me anymore.
says show them the door. It's
Yeah,
very easy to come up with that answer, because if you've got financial commitment and there's children and everything else, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Would you then go to a friend and say, my marriage is rubbish, it's a lie, I'm not getting anything from them at all? Would you go to a friend and because it's happened, it's happened. I didn't in my marriage. I didn't do that in my marriage. I look back and think, well, I was nuts that I didn't do that, but hey, I didn't. Looking back now, absolutely, I'd leave 100%. I would leave. I'd be like, listen, Anne, I mean, what happens is when you stop having sex, you become friends. When there is no sex, you are just friendship in that marriage. So what's the difference with the friends with benefits? The friends with benefits is your friends who are fucking, but when you're not shagging, you are just friends.
A roommate.
Yeah. I'm just trying to ring Steph's.
And I know people like that. I'm there. There's a friend I have that it's the same couple I was referring to before. And in 20 years, I think my friend told me it has been over 10 years since my wife and I had sex or even had the same bedroom. He says, but we're still together. He said, the only reason we're not divorced, and they have no kids together. So the only reason we're not divorced is I can't afford it.
Yeah.
And I can't afford what would happen. Is he a prime walking candidate for getting involved with somebody?
You see, I look back at my friend who asked me about it, and it was like, why didn't you show me this, or and I'm choosing my words carefully here, but why didn't you do this?
Sure.
And you just think to yourself, are you not getting that from your marriage? So you're coming to me because I'm a friend and I'm safe, and it's a friend, would be a friends with benefits. Well, who's getting the benefit out of it? Who's getting, because
Right.
in the day, if let's be asking a really honest question, and we don't have to answer this. Have we got a friend in our lifetime that we wanted to have sex with and we never have?
Was that a question to me? I thought we were still going on.
It's a question. Like, in our lifetime, have we had a friend in our life
Oh, yeah.
that we absolutely want to have sex with and we
Sure.
never have? But there's that
Sure.
underlying current. And so what would happen? And I don't ask you to answer this, but I'm asking in general.
Well, I'm not ashamed to answer that one. Yeah, sure I have.
What would happen if that friend then went, yeah, come on then, let's do it. Let's do it.
That would be a question that, if the atmosphere was right and the permissions were there and the friend said yes, and that would leave me personally. It would depend on my situation.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they always do. There's circumstances, but let's just whitewash some of this out and say that happened.
Yeah.
I'd be very hard pressed to say no.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the friends with benefits because you love the other person. But then the question comes, what about your marriage? What about your situation? What about your home life? Would a man who gets that offer from that woman, he would have to ask himself, do I really love my wife? Do I really love my situation? Or can a man has the keen ability to compartmentalize. That's the way we're physiologically wired.
Mm-hmm.
We jump from puddle to puddle or box to box to box, and never the twain shall meet. That's why guys seem to be able to do that easier, or more guilty of doing it easier than women, because they can compartmentalize life that way. These are generalities, but that's what men do. And David says, not if I was married. But there's also situations that people find themselves on either side of the sexual equation that they could find a way to justify it. Or they could be, God damn, I thought you'd never ask. Because I wasn't planning on doing anything. I was just going to live miserably in this situation.
I also think that when you look at that situation, talking about someone that came out of an unhappy marriage, I have been in that situation where someone was married, came out of an unhappy marriage, and actually I was the girlfriend of who was their best friend. And you and I know this story so well. You know, I was dating their best friend, and I was with them, you know, and unfortunately there were circumstances that arose, and that relationship came to an end, and I started to date the friend. Now, let me tell you this, it's not a good decision to ever date your ex's friends. Never.
Yeah.
Never.
That's actually a guy rule.
Wendy,
you never date your buddy's ex.
I learned the hard way. I really did, because a lot of hearts were broken, including my own. And
Sure.
but what I'm saying is that when does friends cross the line? Because you're always wanting them. You're always, you know. I use this as an example. I'm single. I go to a party. All my friends are there, and they've all got partners,
and they're all paired up. Yep.
And I'm the only single one in there. Most people, unless they're really good friends, will think, "Oh, we don't want her. We don't want her around." You know, our husbands, because, you know, temptation and all that lot. It's very difficult, because sometimes with friendship, what happens if you never saw that friend in that light? You never looked at them that way. And then one day out of the blue, you just started having feelings for them, and you don't know where it came from. And you're like, oh my God, I actually love this person. I didn't, but now I do. How do I tell them? They're my friend. Oh my God, if I tell them, I'm going to lose my friend. I'm going to lose them. And if I don't tell them, it's going to drive me insane. I've had that situation. I've known people who have been friends, and I've fallen for them, because you have that, you know, you have that connection. Yes. I know the feeling, believe me. But you know what? You live and learn. But what I'm trying to say is that you never know. None of us, I think, go out looking for it. But I think there are different kinds of friends with benefit relationship. It's not just the sexual ones. There is that emotional connection. There is that intimacy. There is that bond with that person as well. I mean, it breaks your heart sometimes to be in love with someone that you can't have, and yet they give you scraps from the table, and you're taking those scraps.
I was going to mention that. It's that unrequited.
Yeah.
Unrequited has, though, a quality, though, of the other person not returning the affection either. I think there is an unfulfilled quality that harangues some people's emotions. It's, yeah, I'm in a situation where I love this person loves me. Professor Bauer said sex doesn't take love. No, it doesn't. Sex is a completely different, more fundamental passion of human nature. But love for a person is what governs if we're going to give that out freely to someone else. And I think that's what people struggle with. And that's what causes the brokenness. That's what causes can you think of anybody in your life, Wendy? You don't have to name who they are, but I'm not asking that. because I know I can. Can you think of anybody in your life that you genuinely love, the opposite sex, and you go, I've never fulfilled that, and I would love to, but I don't. And I may bring that to my grave. What does that do to us? Do we wash that away because we love somebody else, or because we're focusing on something else? What did Jason just say? What's really tough is when you have some sort of neurodivergency and things don't always work the way they should. You start to find other ways to develop other intimacy. Interesting. Elderberry says, LOL, Bauer, do you start your dates like that? Steph says, been there, Wendy, when I was younger. Scraps. 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 And sadly, wonder if it carries over into other relationships, settling for scraps.
It also comes down to your self-esteem and your confidence.
Right.
Because when we're younger, certainly when I was younger, even 10 years ago, I was a very unconfident, not very more vulnerable than I am today.
Oh yeah.
And I think that you put up with things perhaps more without having the confidence to say, I actually deserve more than this.
Mm-hmm.
I love you. I want this. And if I can't get it from you, then I need to find someone where it's mutual. Right. Because why, if you want to, if you're in a friends with benefit relationship and you love that person and they don't love you in that way and they can't give you what you need, you have to go and find it with someone who will, because it will destroy you. It will screw you up for any other future relationships. But I had a friend, Justin. He sadly died a couple of years ago. We'd been friends for years. Nothing ever between us. Never anything. Not even a snippet of anything. And he came to see me one day, and I wasn't too well, and he came out to see me, and he sat with me, and he took my hand and he held my hand, and he looked at me, and all of a sudden there was just this recognition of something there between us. I'd never seen it before. It had never done anything like that, but it was there between us. And I remember he said to me, we will have this conversation again. And when you come back, because I wasn't well, and when you come back from your mum's, I will have this conversation. He died before I got to see him. He died very, very suddenly. I never got to have that conversation, and I never got to finish that sentence. But I saw the look in his eye, and the look, and it was an exchange of emotion and feeling between us that probably could have gone somewhere had we looked at it differently and talked about it. So yes, there's a friendship that could have got a benefit, which could have gone to a full-blown thing. I just think that, when we talk about friends and benefits, everyone thinks it's about sex.
Right.
It is.
And many times it is, yeah.
But actually it's other things. It can be money. It can be position. It can be they help me out.
It could be the friendship itself.
Absolutely.
Some people aren't in it for a sexual relationship or to have a mating, but man, they crave the friendship.
And it's safe. It's safe because that friend is not going to treat them like crap, but at least you hope they won't.
Yeah. Well, there is so much more.
Oh yeah.
I think that could be talked about this. We could open up callers and take callers, and we could go for hours, I'm sure. By the way, hello, Kim Estes. Good to see you, brother.
Kim.
And
some great people come and join us tonight.
Yes.
I think they missed us.
I hope so. I missed us.
Me too.
So, I loathe to bring this to an end because there's so much more conversing that could be done. And I don't know if we've really answered any questions.
No, I think we just skimmed the surface. And I do want to come back to the swinging part of things, because I'm very interested to look at that topic.
I think we should dig into that topic.
I think we should. I'm just reading Andrew's comments. To be honest, I doubt any friends with benefits on the female side is about money. You'd be surprised. I know people that are. But I'm so glad that so many people have said, welcome back, glad you're back. It's so nice to feel that they missed us.
Yeah, that's nice to see. And I appreciate that from everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we hope to make it a better habit again, like we did last year. It was almost exactly a year ago that we launched our first show.
It was a year ago. And, I was looking back at some of our episodes, and the first one's done, the first episode we ever did is just done really, really well. And I think it's difficult because doing Wicked Women and Roberts-n-Robertson, they're very different. And some people come to me and they say, oh, I need you and Scotty to do this because they like the dynamics. And some people want to know from the Wicked Women side of it. But I'm just so grateful that I sit here today and I'm back with you, my friend.
Yes, and, I'm grateful too.
Because we have such a great banter.
We've talked about it for weeks and months and always had something. And so it's good to have actualized it again. So.
I'm glad that you've missed us, Steph. That's quite nice. She says, I so miss this.
Hey, Steph, thank you. So do we. And everybody, such great comments tonight. Thank you. Except for Field Guy.
What did he say? I missed that.
No. He's just nothing bad. He's just Field Guy. It's great. Thank you, Field Guy. Your comment was fun too. So the one I saw. So I think we have to wrap this up for tonight. Or do you want to open it up to any calls? If we do, we're going to be here another half an hour.
I mean, it's entirely up to you, but it's like, I know you sometimes shut it down and then just go to, the afterglow, as I like to call it. You call yours Captain's Cabin, don't you?
Right. Yes, I've got the Captain's Cabin. And so how about this? Let's shut down the official show, and Wendy and I'll sit right here for a few minutes. Can't go very long. Yep. I've got, it's after 11 o'clock. It's 11:30, pushing midnight, the midnight hour for Wendy. It's evening for me here, and I have kids at home, and I hear them all playing around upstairs. So it's only 5:30 in the evening here. So go have some dinner with them and hang out with them. And where is Fieldy? Fieldy was here earlier, Steph.
And don't forget that little thing, if you can play it. I don't know if you've got it to play it, have you, for Sunday show?
I've got it, but I have to download it and convert it.
It's already converted, the one that I sent you.
The one you sent, I saw that at the beginning of the show, and I'd have to have you email it to me.
Okay.
And then I have to take it from email and download it. Then I'm able to upload it to the show and play it. So sorry about that.
I do that completely different with mine. I sort of do it, and then I go on to somewhere online, convert it, and then put it back, and upload it to StreamYard. So
yes, it allows me to do it, but I have to monkey around with it, which is the problem. I do have. What have I got here?
Thank you,
I was just going to see if I had anything in really here that was.
Good night, Andrew.
I'm not looking at the screen. Sorry.
That's right. I'm just going on this.
I'm just looking at why does this not. I'm looking to see if I even have a graphic at all for a Wicked Women, and why I don't. Why it's not popping up.
We've been gone just as long, really. We've been
there
gone.
It is.
Okay. So
it's not a video, but it's a graphic.
It's something.
Boom. There you go. Wicked Women.
Which will be back this Sunday at 10
Good night, Andrew.
UK, and I believe that's 3 and 4, 4 or 5. I get confused with you guys' time, but yes, we will be back. Val and I will be back on Sunday, and looking forward to doing that. And it's a good show. And Scotty, you need to come and join us because it was so much fun when you did. It was so much fun.
I will do my best to be there on Sunday.
Val and I
Sundays are
would
rough for me because it's a day when I don't have anything going on after I do morning coffee. Do Sunday morning, and then it's usually my only wide open day.
Just a note to Field Guy who says that Wicked Women were cancelled because there was a touch of rain.
Oh yeah,
really, Field Guy? Really? You know, that your sense of humor sucks. But yes, absolutely. Please come and join us. We are so looking forward to seeing you all and to be back. It's been a really difficult, like Roberts-n-Robertson, we really struggled this year, to actually even, you were busy or I was sick, or then there was Henry, and then, it just, Uncle Dave. Oh, so difficult.
All kinds of things. So,
yeah. But we're back, baby.
We're back. Baby. All right. So let's get out of here for now. Let's end the show, but we'll stick around. We'll see if you guys want to call in if you got any comments. So for now, everyone, thanks for being here. And sit tight because Wendy and I will be right back. Live long and prosper. Hey, we're back. Look at that.
I love that music. It's so lovely.
I know. It's great. It's sexy and it's slow and it's
hot. And when
driving without being hardcore.
When you play it on a Sunday on your show, because
yes.
When you do it and you play all of them, all your show music, so I'm like, there's ours.
In the break in between, yes.
There's ours. Because it's such a great theme.
It is. I like it. And it works. It's folk, said Elderberry. Love you too, David. Thanks for being here.
David, thank you so much for coming to see us tonight. Thank you. Colleen, there will be a link up for Wicked Women. Everyone wants to see the link for Wicked Women. If you're on my page, there will be a link for Wicked Women in the next day or so. And I'll tag Scotty in it as well, so he's got it on. But yes, you need
sending a link, says Jason. I think Jason might just join us. Folks, here's the link. There it is. You can come in and join Wendy and I.
Robertson and Roberts.
Yes. We'll have a little menage convo.
Menage a trois, darling. Menage a trois.
There it is. Right.
You look very dapper tonight as well, darling. I have to say, you look very dapper.
Oh, why? Thank you.
You look gorgeous.
From somebody who looks so amazing as you do today and stunning, that bears a lot of weight, and I appreciate that.
Well, the blue, red, and black goes. I mean, you just look fab.
Jason's over there talking to himself. He's like, so let's bring Jason in.
Myself in public.
There he is. How you doing, brother?
Doing all right. I was gonna say, he's got Good to see you. I'm glad you're back, and you appear to be doing well, and that's good. We're all glad to see that. You're talking though the blue and the red and the black. I was going to say I could throw on my Raiders jacket.
You should,
and that would be very rakish.
You could be rakish.
It would go from being dapper to rakish.
You know how my rakishness starts? I'll go, I'm going to be rakish. Hold on a second. Yes, okay. I'll be right back to be rakish. So
stand by.
There it is.
Loving the specs, Jason. Loving the specs.
Thank you.
How's my hat? Today. Have you worked on my hat yet?
You never sent me the measurements.
Uh-oh.
Did I not send you my measurements? Oh my goodness.
No, you did not. So I don't even know what block to work with. I'm just like, all right. Okay. Well, I need that to start anywhere. I don't have a black felt in right now, but I do have a very lovely, very dark chocolate brown that might possibly suit you. But you had said black, but I just figured I had that actually on hand, so I would throw it out.
Jason and I have had quite a few conversations about my measurements because we're talking about a hat here.
Yeah.
Before he's thinking like 36, whatever, and all that kind of stuff. But literally, because he knows what idea I was wanting for a hat. But yes, I must send them to you, and you need to remind me because my brain has been fried the last month. Literally.
Send me your measurements. So there you go. I just
send me your measurements. It's all. Yeah.
Or should I? You know what? Let's make this easier to avoid the snarky comments from the audience. Send me your measurement.
Measurement.
We will not put that out there as a plural.
And if you don't have a tape measure, Wendy, you can use a string, and you tie a string around.
Just where it crosses
let your hat settle with the finger width in there, and then you can take that and put it on a flat ruler and get your measurement. So,
well, I'm looking forward to it because Jason, you always look good. Scotty always scrubs up well. You scrub up well. You really, really do. And
thank you.
I remember like Jason from years ago. He was always
saying something nice. I'm just gonna.
Well, it's true. He's disappearing now, but it's true. And I think it's nice that both of you make an effort. Because a guy that makes an effort and takes care of himself and looks good, we women, we appreciate that. We really do.
You got to stink purdy if you're a guy. Stink purdy. That's how we get around saying, yes, I smell good. I stink purdy. And
I'm not sure you're going to be able to actually get that as a commonly used phrase. There.
That was the thing. I used to have women friends, and there was always attractions with some certain friends that you would let do this, and you never pursued it. But they go, "Wow, you smell great tonight." You meet at a setting, an event, or something, and I go, "Well, here, just take a smell. Smell just a little bit,
it is
right
good.
there."
We like to smell of you. We like to smell of you.
Come in and just put your nose right in there.
Yeah, you get it on those not pressure points.
A little bit. You got to put a little bit, on the little
pulse points,
whatever they call it.
Little extra heat generated there too.
Yes. Yeah. Here.
It's a little bit intimate though, boys, isn't it? Like smell me.
Well, that was the point. You say we'd be in a crowd. You'd be in a crowd in a bar, meeting an event, and a woman would say, "Wow, you smell
really good."
Yeah, just put your nose right there. Right there is where you get the best.
You also want to smell it. If you've gone on a date with someone and there was you've been sitting with them or you've been kissing them or whatever. When you actually go home and you still smell them, that's really hot. It's really hot.
So, Jason, this is for the ladies. What's your favorite scent that you wear?
Ooh.
Do you have one? A favorite one? And if not a favorite name, a favorite, like, what do they say? There's the scents
I have
that
three.
Have a musky scent to them, or a woody scent, or a fruity scent.
I have three that I go to, and one of them is just an aftershave. That one is Pinard Clubman. It is the classic, quintessential, old-timey barbershop scent.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like every time I wear that, and I've been around gal pals and whatnot, and somebody I'm dating,
Yep.
I always get the God, you smell really good. Like reminds me of my grandpa. Like at first you're kind of like, don't want to be associated with old kind of thing, but they're like, no, it's really great because it's a familiar, comforting, scent.
Yes.
But for me, the big thing, the reason why I love it is it is so classic. Like you smell it, and immediately your brain goes to, old 1930s, 1940s,
Yes.
50s barbershop. That kind of a manly sort of scent. It's not like a overpowering, like musky, whatever. It's a clean, fresh scent. The next one, and these are in no particular order of favoritism.
Oh my God, now we're in trouble.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we are. I just saw. Look who popped in. The professor. And the second one is it's 4711, and I'm trying to remember the exact manufacturer name. I can't, but I actually discovered it through some pomade that I bought by a company called Don Juan. They had one called
Don't
Dracula.
tell me you use pomade.
Oh, I use pomade. And so this 4711 cologne is actually the same cologne that Bela Lugosi wore throughout the entire filming of Dracula, and it's got this
Cool.
very just dark scent that just it's hard to describe. It's one of those ones that you've got to smell it.
Now I want to see what that smells like.
Yeah, 4711. You can find it on Amazon. They've been making it since the 1800s. It's the same.
Which aftershave do you wear when you want to seduce the lady?
I can't give away my secret weapon.
I think you need to.
No,
Come on.
not right now. No.
No. He says.
I'll hang on to that little weapon. No, I kid. Typically, it's usually the Pinard Clubman is the aftershave thing. It creates just more of an atmosphere where it's easier. It's more comfortable and relaxed because there's a familiarity to it, and so you can just kind of slide into a comfortable situation if you're trying to build.
Slide into a comfortable situation wearing a favorite cologne. My goodness, what kind of vision that gives to a woman.
And
then the third is fragrance.
Professor, thank you for joining us tonight, Professor.
Yeah.
Dare I ask you, Professor, as it's late in London, what do you wear? What do you wear to seduce the ladies?
I gave up the whole cologne thing probably 20 years ago, so I stick.
You disappoint me.
I
stick with the tried and true pheromones.
Oh my goodness! Really?
He's lying. He's lying. He uses Axe body spray.
Ladies, I've worn my pheromones into the room.
He's lying. He has stock in Axe body spray. He's going through it like he's a teenager in high school.
Well, I will say that back in the day, in the 70s, in Southern California, Canoe was a favorite. Pierre Cardin was a favorite. Old Spice was a favorite. Musk.
Nice.
All of those were, and I got to the point. I just got to the point where my own sniffer got tired of smelling that stuff, and I, to this day, still, if I go to the store or I'm out somewhere and some woman walks by who's clearly taken a bath in whatever perfume Brute, that's another one.
High karate.
High karate. What was it? Aqua Velva.
Yeah, Aqua Velva.
But I find the whole perfume and cologne thing way overdone. And I run into or pass women who have taken a bath and whatever the hell they've put on. And I have to, back up, take a wide berth because it's overdone. It's overdone. And if
An
my
over-scented
pheromones,
woman or an over-scented person
yeah,
is overwhelming. I don't like to, when I meet women and they're over-scented, it's like you're chewing on their perfume, and it's like,
yeah.
So-
And Wendy, let me ask you this in response to that. Do you put on any kind of perfume before you do the naked and the nasty?
Do I look like the kind of woman that would put something on before I did the nasty?
I no,
no.
but
I would think
How far
that
before are we talking? Hold on, wait.
your
Are we
skin
talking about
smells
prior
of-
to the date?
your
Then,
skin
you know.
smells of clean body wash and lotion. When you get to that stage,
I have
My-
layers. I have layers. So I have body moisturizer, and then there will be a spray, and
there you
then
go.
deodorant, and then there will be a perfume, and then there'll be another one. And so I smell of layers. So how can I put this nicely?
as you peel
As
me
you
back,
peel back the layers,
Yes. Did you notice all us guys are sitting here like this?
I peel them off. Because you know what? You want them to say,
Mhm.
she smelled good, as each
Right.
when you took off. But I honestly think also that I don't want a man to just smell of pheromones, Professor, because I can't take those away with me and go, I can still smell you. You're still with me all these hours later.
well, the
Yeah.
one thing that I found over the last 20 years, actually probably more than that, about 25, is I got into sage and Palo Santo
Okay.
and incenses,
Cool.
natural. And before I'd go to
I
an
love
interview,
incenses.
I'd Palo Santo my ass, and I would get more compliments and more
It's a good smell.
attraction than I did with any of that cologne crap that I wore, decades before. So
Mhm.
I'm just gonna put it out there. If you're curious, lavender, honeysuckle, and roses.
oh yeah,
If you wanna take some notes, that's one of my favorites. Those are my
essential
let's-
oils
let me write
are,
that
are,
down,
are the
Jason.
bomb. If you have to do a smell, do an
I
essential oil.
wasn't talking about you two. I'm talking about Scotty and the Professor. No.
I like
What
a
do you
clo-
think I smell like? Like, seriously, none of you have met me, right? You've seen me at a distance. What do you think I smell like? What do you think cologne
you know
I
what
wear?
you smell.
I get this sweet honeysuckle kind of sense.
He's
and
just saying
scent.
that because I said honeysuckle. See, that's I planted that. Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
So what are we thinking? Honeysuckle?
See, the proper gentleman would say, "Why, darling, you smell like my cologne." Of course.
Pumpkin spice, says elderberry. What do you think, Jason? You think I'm what?
That's a tough one.
Mm.
That's a
Ken?
tough one.
Ken?
I'm listening right now. Definitely.
I'm very much I like vanilla. I like
I
sweet
If
smell.
you smell like a vanilla chai latte, that would be pretty awesome.
Actually,
yeah, that would be.
I'm a Dior girl. I would wear things like Hypnotic Poison, Miss Dior, J'adore, and things like that. So I would hope I smell quite really nice, but it's layered, right? And the thing is, I think when you leave your scent on someone, this is a whole new show, Scotty. When you leave your scent on someone,
That's the title for it right there. When you
You know,
leave your scent on someone.
When you
Boom.
leave your scent
Right?
on someone.
part of their energy is still with you because you're
When you
smelling.
leave your scent on someone, also help me. Oh, no, never mind. It's a song.
I'm out.
Did you say leave my scent or leave my essence on you? What?
All depends on how esoteric you want to be.
Went
sounding.
there. He always goes there.
When I leave my smell on you, or do I leave my essence on
I
you?
smell of you and I smell good.
I will wear, and
I might need a bourbon for this
Is it?
conversation.
yeah. The cologne 1821. 1821.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Sweet
the
red
tobacco.
tobacco. That's what I wear.
That's
Do
a
you know
good one.
So what you're saying is, Scotty, you smell like a cigar shop.
Pretty much. It's a
Okay,
cigar shop.
I'm just saying.
Sweet
Don't be
cigar
hating on
shop.
me.
Yes, I smell like a humidor. I am a I always get this with Steph Cuervo Queen. I always think of Antonio Banderas saying her name, Steph Cuervo Queen, and with when I smell like a humidor. Ole.
Which is what I wish that
This is what I wish.
smelled like.
It's just, how do you say you
Let him
smell?
dress as Puss in Boots or just
I am Puss in Boots.
that you put the accent down to
I could say something about that, but I'm not gonna say it.
I
go there.
never
one thing.
forget a
I
face.
can
But
say one thing: funky feet and funky feet and catfish.
catfish?
And funky feet, like a bag of Cheetos. Funky feet.
Why?
Oh,
Tie me
my
to an anthill and smear my ears with jam. You smell just like my uncle still.
But body odors out.
That's
Like
a Virginia
nobody
scent.
wants to smell that. Nobody wants
Smell like my uncle still.
You guys have seen that meme where they it's something about what do women want to see on men, and it's a guy with a chainsaw and he's gone through a big old log and he's got sawdust all over him, and it says, "You mean man glitter?"
And
Yeah,
there it is.
let's call it that.
Oh, Steph. I was just going to say, I'll bet you smell like grapeseed oil and sunflower oil as carriers.
Mhm.
Gosh.
Wow.
Val's right though. The
Spot
smell
on
of leather
tonight.
is really nice. Like if you smell, if a guy wears a leather
David.
jacket or something like that, thank you, David. It's very nice.
There you go, David.
I smell very Dior-y, I think is the word I would use. But I do the layers. So Professor, you probably wouldn't like the smell of me because I'm not au natural. I'm a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of the other.
Well, it would depend on the
Wow.
amount, the intensity of the aromas, and how many I had to peel to get down to the El Natural.
Well, sometimes you just got to keep going till you get there.
The one thing that I found that I didn't know that I would really like, and I don't know why I didn't think I would like it until I tried it, but is body oils and the flavored ones.
Yeah.
And oh my God, you get yourself some good mango.
Flavored body oils to me.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I gotta put in my 2 cents worth. It's like edible panties. It's like,
yes.
There you
gross.
go. There you go.
To
He
me-
likes the mango.
To me, gross.
Wendy.
It's like, wow, darling, your undies taste like mango banana.
Still even do those. They still feel like the edible undies. I've not seen them in years.
Undies, wears.
Well, there you go.
Tidy whities.
Give him a mango, and Wendy, you can do the tango with it.
There it
As long
is.
as you got the mango.
I am like not into that. I don't like the flavored oils, and it's like, oh, that means it's not. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not, like licking the female body. I mean, that's a cool thing. But if I'm doing it because you smell like food, that's different. I don't want to do
Well,
that.
but see, here's the thing.
I don't think
kills,
you tried the right stuff, Scotty.
Yeah, here's what kills.
Can I have a cheeseburger?
Yeah.
Look, when they come up with the
cheeseburger.
Wagyu, the A5 Wagyu flavored body oil. No,
Yeah.
the interesting thing though with things like the flavors and the scents and the oils, for me, that kills it for me is the fact that my palate is very, very sensitive to artificial sweeteners, and so when they do stuff like that, they obviously make them like body safe, so they don't want to introduce a bunch of sugars into all the nooks and crannies, thus leading to.
Yeah, could you imagine that? Licking your woman's body oil off and you go into a diabetic shock?
Right, but like I wasn't going that direction, but that is one. So it's like nothing uses natural sweeteners. It all uses artificial stuff, so it tastes like chemicals to me.
So
but-
Scotty, you said that Scotty, he would go into a diabetic coma. I'm just saying, Scotty.
Yeah. There's a lot of I think there's a lot of reactions to
Undies is underwear.
looking at a woman's body. But
But they don't do those edible undies anymore. I've seen the
good. What were they, like fruit roll-ups or something? And
but not the undies anymore.
I didn't know that there was edible undies, and because I mean, first of all, it's like Steph said, what are undies? If I'm getting ready to get jiggy with it and she's got undies on, that's one of the first things that's coming off.
Yeah.
But it was back 20, 30 years ago. I was with this woman and the panties came off and we did the thing. And then I think we were drunk and goofing off, and I took her undies and I put them on my head. And, just as kind of a laugh. And then I'm smelling these undies and I'm going, this smells like strawberry or something. And I licked it and turned out it was edible. She goes, "You can eat those, and I went, huh? I didn't know that."
Essential vitamins are represented here.
All the minerals and all the juices. Yeah.
It just the thought of that never. I think to me, undies. Sorry, Steph. Undies. Panties, pantaloons, brassieres, slips, girdles, really. Whatever you want to call all the stuff underneath. That's for show.
The unmentionable.
Flowing. That's for silky. That's for texture and aesthetic. It's not for taste. It's not like, wow, that's a lovely girdle you're wearing. What flavor is it? Let me find out.
I have to say that I have sprayed my perfume on lingerie and I have sent it to a boyfriend and through the post.
That's cruel.
As he opened it up, it's like the smell. And I think, because sensuality comes in many different ways and smell is so important.
That's different though.
And even if I can't be there, the undies are there or the lingerie's there and he can just sniff them.
He didn't eat them though.
So you turned him into a panty sniffer.
I had a woman send me panties in the mail once. I was living in Detroit, and along with other things, a letter and red lacy panties, and they're pretty amazing. That's the olfactory nerve is one of the best memory inducers. So when you're apart from somebody,
yes,
sending them.
There are.
So is the tongue. I mean, the tongue is one of the most.
Well, they're connected, all olfactory,
right? And I mean, you can't taste unless you can smell.
Right.
Try, pinching your nose and licking something.
Right. But you're not going to get the same effect if your panties that get sent to you taste like perfume, because that's.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That whole chemical.
Yeah. Now, a perfume can smell good, but you put it in your mouth, you could go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I always find it difficult to taste breasts when I have my face buried between them.
Because your nose is plugged up. Duh. You're pinching your nose.
There are certain perfumes, though. I will tell you. There was a gal that I knew who was disturbingly sweet on me.
Disturbingly sweet.
Overbearing, pressuring, keep trying to push for something that I didn't want, that kind of thing.
I have no idea why she would be like that, Jason. No idea.
Just gonna continue with my story awkwardly. But if somebody else in a crowd, and it's years ago, if somebody else is wearing that or a similar fragrance in a crowd, yes. I'm just.
You're like,
where the no, not today, Satan, not today.
That has happened to me where 25 to 30 years after the fact with a woman in the early to mid 80s. And I was walking through a crowd 10 years ago, maybe. And I went, and right away, that scent, you go, that smells just like so-and-so. And you know what it did? It didn't just alert me. It flooded my mind with memories.
Wendy, are you familiar with a perfume called Amarage?
No.
I first smelled that back in the mid 90s, and it was one of the most profound and powerful olfactory experiences. And to this day, I think I've come across it maybe a handful of times in the last 25 years. And a woman will have it on and she'll walk by and I'm instantly just almost paralyzed to the point of stiffness.
Paralyzation, you know.
It comes on and it's trouble. Like, day, it just happens.
Yeah, it just like, what?
It's like, you went there. But it's like, but I also think like perfume and scent takes you back to memories, doesn't it? And as well, but so does body odor, because I know people that don't wear deodorant and they actually go, oh, but I smell le naturel, and you know, I don't like to wear deodorant. And I'm like, you really need to wear one, because when it's warm, you actually stink. But they actually believe they smell really good because it's like, oh, I just washed with soap. Why do I need to use a chemical? Because you stink, right? And you need to have it on. But seriously, they do. And you know, and then it's like when I was in Italy once, is a little story here. I was in Italy once, love the Italians, and I was on a train, and there was a lovely lady with her arm holding up onto the train, you know, to hold on to side. Now she had a lovely hairy armpits, which obviously in the Italians they do, bless them, they tend to like. But let me tell you, no deodorant is not a good smell on a train, body odor. And that's why I think it's really important that we, you know, we might think to ourselves, we smell great, we're natural. No, you don't actually. For a little while you do, but if it's really hot and it's really sticky, you're gonna stink, because that's what the body does.
Stuck in a can.
You know, it's not just the under the arms; it's the groin, it's the bum, it's all around, guys. I'm afraid to tell you, you need to make sure all that's taken care of. Feet.
So let's take this into a little different.
We don't have much time. I gotta clear out soon. So
how does everybody feel about taking showers together?
Ooh,
that's cool. Always a plus.
I'm all for it.
Good.
I don't understand people who aren't.
Yeah.
I mean, because at that point, I mean, you're really able to make sure all of those smells that take people like Wendy and make them go, wait a minute, you got to get rid of that smell. Well, let's go in the shower together. Let's get rid of these smells together.
We'll see.
And let's play drop the soap.
That would be the thing if I was there. There have been times drop the soap. There have been times where I have traveled to see somebody, and you spend a day in an airplane or something, and you see that person, and they're like, "Oh my God, take me now!" And you're like, "You don't even want to come near me. I've been on an airplane all day. I smelled good.
Yeah, but you smell
12 hours ago.
Yeah, it's true.
And now I don't smell good. I smell like airplane recycled air. I smell like train. I smell like Jeep. I smell like taxi. You know what? I might smell good because I could spritz a little. I'd carry a little vial of cologne. I'd always carry that in my jacket pocket or something. And you could put a little spritz on. But that doesn't do the whole trick. It's like,
damn.
I may smell good to you now on the surface, but
so I
will smell like a plane and a train and an automobile. I must go take a shower.
So let's ask the next stage of that. I mean, so you take the shower, you play a little drop the soap. You're still, want to get more jiggy on it, and And then you get into one of those really athletic, energetic, physical sessions, and you're sweating. And there's nothing you can do about it. You're going to sweat because, I mean, so what happens then?
I think, based off of my experience, all right, I can't talk for any of you guys, right? Okay, so in my experience, if you're doing that, you're both naked, you're exposed to the air. Even if you're getting really sweaty, it still evaporates quickly, and it doesn't have time to stew.
That's it.
Which is where it becomes a problem.
See,
and
when
at that
you're
point,
wearing
you have
clothes,
your natural,
and you're wearing clothes, and you're walking around, or you're riding on a plane, or you're doing whatever, that sweat that you accumulate, even if it's just light body sweat, that accumulates in crevasses and places.
There's that word again.
And you got clothes covering it, and you're like, I got to shower and change my clothes. But when you're, as we would say affectionately, humping and bumping and greasing up the old flax suit, then
I didn't know that was
we lost somebody.
Affectionate way to say something.
Who did we lose? Kenny. No, when you are, affectionately speaking. No, like Jason couldn't have said it better. Two people naked, doing the things that you do when you do it. You're doing it together. You're sweating together. Then guess what? You're all done. You get to shower again, or you soak in a hot tub.
I think also your brain's in a different place.
Yes.
Different things are switched on. You have now tapped into the core of your more animal instincts.
Yes.
On top of the emotions and passions that are there. And so it's now almost like you're in like a hunter mode, if you will, that you're picking up all of those things chemically that attracted you to that other person, and it's more intense. And so if there is a little bit of odor, you're not noticing it because, you're
See, I like the smell of my car because the fact that she's old, and when you get in there and you can smell the leather.
Oh, you're talking about the 67. Yeah.
The Impala, like when I get in the car, I'm like, and I've never changed that. I don't want any air fresheners in it. I don't want any perfume in it. I want it to stay exactly the same.
Do you know what I like? Speaking of things that smell good, I love the smell of an old car. Old 60s classic car that's got the old leather. But now I'm not talking walking on barroom carpeting cigarette smell, but the smell of somebody who's had an old car in the 60s with the old leather and they had smoked. I'm not talking we chain smoke. We got 15 people smoking in the car for 50 years.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
You can pick up that hint of not stale barroom smell, but leather, old car, cigarette, cigar, maybe even, and you smell like cecil fibers. Smell. What's that?
Cecil fibers. So what? Yes. Or horsehair fibers as well. But like if they do the format and the padding for the seats out of cecil, if you get into like an old Volkswagen that hasn't been restored, and there's a certain scent to it that's very unique, it's because of the natural products they use to. Say again.
I'm just saying the feel
guy.
Didn't notice.
All right.
Oh Lord.
Well, guys, on horsehair and body sweat.
What was that, Wendy?
Are you growing your hair?
No, it's growing itself.
I just wanted to sort of sporting a sort of longer.
I didn't have to do a damn thing.
When I turned, I did my corporate stuff in up through 40, and then for the next 10 years I kept it kind of short. And then when I turned 50, I said, screw it. Most guys my age don't have hair, let alone can grow it. So I ended up with a tail halfway down my back, and I'd make my daughters braid it for me. So over the last 15 years, I go through a short hair period, and then I just decided, screw it, I'm just going to let it grow. I keep waiting for it to turn white like Scotty's, but all I get is these rails on the sides and starting to get a little bit on top, but I just want the whole thing to go white. Then I'm going to grow it all the way to my ass.
You're going to be like,
place my hair grows anymore. My hair doesn't even grow.
Are you going to wear like a white robe and tell people they can't pass?
I think he's going to be like Gandalf, isn't he, Professor?
Yeah.
Yep. If
A wizard is never early or late.
if I just let my hair go, it's like this
Precisely
curly,
when he's
kinky
meant to.
mess. And I keep thinking that I'm going to end up looking like an Einstein, but
Do wizards wash?
Yeah.
Do they wear long flowing robes and do they wash?
wizards neither
Wizards?
wash nor don't wash.
Wizards
They are
neither
precisely as they're
nor
supposed to
go
be when
filthy.
they are.
We
I was
smell
waiting for you to say that.
precisely as we are meant to.
And
Do
he's-
you take me for some conjurer average shower of soap?
and
All right.
Steph, you are correct. It has been grabbed, held, pulled, and yanked. In fact, when I learned shiatsu back in the 80s, so I was doing a lot of massage and stuff, I found that I love my hair being pulled. I mean, it is a
yeah, it's hot.
a
It's
visceral experience that just, it sends shivers and blood through every part of my body.
It is, if they put their hands up like this and then pull you back, or if they hold the back of your head and pull, but if someone just yanks your hair back, you're like,
I had a
right.
ghost
to be done
run its
right.
fingers through my hair once. And I can explain it in no other way. That's highly subjective story. But I'm sitting and we're in a house and I'm sitting on a bed and I'm asking for somebody to speak. This is many years ago now, 15 years ago. And something, I felt that the fingers went right here and into my hair
Ooh.
and pulled it all the way back. And I went, and I'm talking to all the other people on our team that are in the house in other places. And I went, just had my hair run through by fingers. I think it was fingers. I hope it was fingers. So, that. And then the other where I've had springs it up, and we're going to wrap the show on this story. In the second grade in Hawthorne Elementary School in what is now very much the hood of Minneapolis, North Minneapolis, there was a teacher named Mrs. McGee. And Mrs. McGee was one of my favorite old memory teachers, second grade. She was a very large black woman. She looked very Aunt Jemima-ish. She had the headpiece. We're talking 1966, 67, in that range of time. She had the like do-rag, the scarf on the head, and a big dress. And she was missing 2 fingers on this hand. But man, she could grab your hair and pull it with those 3 fingers. It would be like, you get over here now. You didn't. She talked that way. She says, you don't talk back to me in my class. You get over here. And she could pull your hair with 3 fingers like you wouldn't believe. And grab a ruler with the other one to swat you. We're talking 1967. So, and we have to end on that. I don't remember what she smelled like, but I'm sure if I caught a whiff of it, I'd go
pancake syrup.
You would, yeah, pancakes. There it is.
Well, it's so nice.
You said Aunt Jemima.
There it is. She had that look.
Could join us tonight, and I have to say, Jason, it's always a pleasure to be above you in this little box.
Oh! You were supposed to say on top.
Oh no, I wasn't going there. It's always nice to be above you, Jason.
There you go. Jason, there you go. That's all I can say. There you go.
I'd like to render a man speechless.
There. Yep. There you go.
It worked. It worked, Wendy.
Oh my
Professor,
goodness.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for letting me in.
I may see you tomorrow
Behave
night on
yourself,
Intrepid Radio.
Behave.
That's just not going to happen.
It's not in his vocabulary.
See you, Professor. Jason. I don't here. This is for you.
Oh Lord.
Oh. I thought you'd end up underneath her again, but
oh well, what can I say? It is midnight.
One never knows. One never knows, as Wendy
Just
would say.
saying. Oh, Jason's
So-
going, right?
Jason, I'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, sounds good.
Sure appreciate
Bye,
you,
Wendy. Bye,
appreciate you
Scotty.
being here. And I'm
Always a
glad
pleasure.
that you took a look at Spork being beneath Wendy. So
Well, anytime.
there it is. Wendy's like, anytime you want to be below me.
And if you want to bring the hat, we can measure it. It's fine.
You can leave your hat on. However that melody goes.
Oh, I do love to make it laugh.
Okay, sorry. Jason, we'll see you later.
All right,
Talk
sounds
to you,
good.
brother.
Take care.
Wendy,
And then there
been a
was
fun
just
show.
me and you.
Been a fun show.
It's so nice to be back with you, Robertson.
It's so nice to be back with you, Roberts.
I quite like the fact that sometimes you've actually called yourself Scotty Robertson.
I have. There have been times, even though it's an extra syllable, I've done it. So
But you've never called me Wendy Roberts.
I haven't. I've called you Wendy something else before.
Oh my God.
So that's
I
fun.
might have been gone for a while, but we certainly have made up for it tonight with all
We
the
have.
fun.
We have. It was a good show. It was fun.
Good fun.
And folks, join us here again next week. We'll do kind of the same thing with a different topic.
Yeah.
So, all right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. We appreciate the fact that you joined us tonight. And we'll see you next time. And so I'm just going to play our standard out music here
Because it's
tonight.
sexy.
And if I can find it, there it is. All right. And so, Wendy,
Love you.
Love you for a long time. See you later, everybody.
Bye.
Live
Bye.
long and prosper.